a number of similarly minded socialist groups in different countries around the world, in particular France, Turkey and Iran, as well as here in the UK. And Mازیار Rází is a member of the Iranian revolutionary Marxist tendency who's visiting the UK, who's also involved in this project. So we thought we'd have a meeting with Mازیار to talk about the project that's underway. So Mازیar.
Thank you, comrades. This project, in fact, should be very self-evident why we should, at this stage, this period of history of class struggle, we should revive, renew, and regenerate some sort of international activity. The evidence of it is this, that to the masses of the workers and oppressed people all over the world, it's been very clear that the nature of capitalism is to rob them, and the banks are behind this, very evident and very open robbing of the people, which started like 2008 after the crisis of this period of neoliberalism. And to the masses, in order to react to this very evident attack upon their interests, are in the streets. Hundreds of thousands, millions, in fact, have gone to the streets in the last few years, and it's continuing. Now we have people in the streets in Turkey, and a week before in Greece, and then it's ongoing in Spain, Italy, all over the world. There have been occupations in America even, and then Middle East, North Africa has been changes of governments, and revolts and revolutions all over the world. So that is, in fact, for us as Marxist revolutionaries, one central question is going to be posed in our mind immediately. Why aren't there any socialist revolutions in this world? This sort of period, that there are deep economic crisis of the capitalism and deep political crisis of capitalism, and the states very clearly and very vividly have come behind this 1% minority and defending the banks. When they make a mess out of everything, they make with austerity measures, they're making millions of people to pay for their mistakes, and then when they in fact come about and then rob the people very clearly, like Barclays Bank and HSBC, they just change the heads, and then they cut their bonuses by like a few £100,000, and the rest they get their bonus and get a better job. In fact, it was very interesting. Just last week I was traveling on the ground. I saw this newspaper Metro, and there was a news which that number 500,000 drew my interest to it. They mentioned in that, and this is a newspaper that is well read by thousands of people in the streets normally because it's free. It says that 500,000 pounds has been given as bonus to 4 or 5 bankers, just as a bonus, 500,000 pounds. And the next day, ironically, there was another article by the Oxfam and CAP looking at the poverty in England. They're saying that 500,000 people are under poverty line today in England. That means they haven't got much to eat even. So that's very ironical, because this is the situation now. We get the crisis of capitalists, and they're robbing people very clearly, and people as a result have come to the street. Now, in this sort of periods, we really have to revive and relook at our position. The revolutionary Marxists, for the last 30, 40 years, especially the Trotskyists, have been preparing for revolution, socialist revolution. This is our task, to prepare for a period which is calm and cool and the consciousness is not there. We prepare, as very few people, and we continue consistently and so on. But now that the millions are coming to the streets, there is no leadership. So there is in fact, it's very clear crisis of the revolutionary left, because we should have been leading millions of the people in the street. We should have been leading revolutions or pre-revolutionary situations in many places in the world. And Trotskyists and revolutionary Marxists are absent, totally absent, and they have no sort of indication of leading anybody. They can't even leading themselves. They're, bickering against each other. There are splits and so on. We can see Establipina just breaking into pieces. This largest Trotskyist organizations in European scale that was supposed to be leading the revolutions are in this sort of state, and we have left the streets empty for the anarchists to take over. There is no revolutionary Marxists anywhere to be seen. What they are doing, either they have gone and followed the routine activity of building phony internationals, 10, 20 groups, they come without any program, as the leaders of the world revolution, like IMT, like IS, they pretend to be the revolutionary international. They just either keep on doing that, and then without any force, without any sort of indication that they can lead even one small strike in the world scale, or they just keep on in the linear fashion the routine activity they've been doing and their habit to do for the last 30 years. So now I think this is the time that we rethink about this situation. I mean, we as a Marxist, we can't close our eyes to the present upheavals and leave the streets to the generally people. They need revolution. I mean, the 16, 17-year-old kids came to the street 2 years ago in England. They wrote on the walls without any prior Marxist education. They wrote on the walls revolution. They wrote on the socialism. So that means there's a lack of leadership which exists in the world scale. Of course, we can't find an immediate, quick solution to that. We wish that there was a Comintern today, Comintern that was created after the Russian Revolution in the world scale. I can assure you the objective situation is ready for socialist revolutions today in the world scale, and this lack of leadership obviously has led us to sit around and practically carry on with our routine activity that we have been in a habit to do in the last 30 years. So the project of Marxist revival has come out of this objective situation. What we are saying that we cannot start resolve the crisis of leadership immediately. We cannot create an international organization in the world scale to lead the revolution. But what we can do is start rethink about what small steps we can take towards preparation for a revolutionary international. That is the idea of Marxist revival. It's a project. It's not an organization. It's not yet a tendency even. It's just a project that wants to bring this idea forward that we have to rethink. We cannot go on the routine manner, selling paper in this location and that location, and then seeing where there is a IS SWP split, go and recruiting one person from there, and then tedious activities, which we have been doing is really tiring, and nobody's is got the interest to come towards us with this sort of activity. This is the activities for the period that there was a lull period, a period that the relationship of forces was to the interest of the world capitalism, and they could get away with it. They had done reforms and they had done a lot of things. This idea of neoliberalism, it's just actually with the defeat of the miners in this country and many other countries, they just actually mesmerize the people. People would not come to a revolution or revolts. But now the situation has changed, Therefore, we have to take a change of direction. We have to take change of attitude towards building an international organization. So this idea has come out of that present situation, which is going to be different to other organizations. We are not for building phony internationals. We are not for carrying on, closing our eyes to the situation that we are facing now. So this idea is come about in this way, and it's very modestly wants to re-examine the basic ideas of Marxism. That has been, in fact, has been revised by years ago. Our question, our central issue is what is wrong with Trotskyism. This is our issue now. Where are these revolutionary Marxists? Why they have revised the basic ideas of Marxism? For example, we just look at this SWP that I mentioned, but most of the groups are like that. They end up siding with most reactionary regime in the world, with Iranian regime and with Hezbollah in the streets in London. So there is severely something wrong with these ideas of Marxism. I mean, this is not Marxism that, at the end of this analysis, we come to side with the reactionary regimes and reactionary sort of elements of Hezbollah in some sort of activity, have united front with them. So therefore, these sort of activities which come about from these theories, from these theoreticians, so-called theoreticians, shows that there is, in fact, a theoretical crisis as well, that we have to revive. We have to go to the basics. We have to go, in fact, to a Communist Manifesto and see what are the lessons from Marxist sort of tendencies in the whole history, and also what has been the elements of Trotskyism, what has been the elements, the basic elements of Leninism. Even the idea of Leninist organization has been revised. All these groups and organizations who pretend to be the leader of the world revolution without having even 5 workers in any factory, or without even organizing one strike, that is in fact a revision of Leninist party of the concept of party, because they have misunderstood it. This is a Stalinist organizations that are pretending that it's Leninist. It isn't, you see. In fact, we have to go towards that too. So therefore, with this idea of Marxist revival, we want, first of all, do 2 things at the same time. First of all, to come to a united activity and, the organization and seeing what is around us and keeping away from this routine act. Okay, we comrades are in a habit of doing in every country to do certain activities. We can continue doing that, but also pay some attention to what is going on around us, and also try to relate to mass upsurges in the world scale, in Middle East, in various countries, and to see what solution we can, give to the present crisis. Secondly, at the same time that we are doing political joint activities, we sit and discuss and reshuffle the whole ideas of Marxism, the whole ideas of Trotskyism, Leninism, anything that we have from our past experiences, to come to a genuine and a better sort of ideas and develop Marxism, because Marxism is not a dogmatic sort of theory that we keep it forever, draw and then bring it as a formula in each case. We have to develop it. We have to relate it to the present situation. That is going to be an ongoing discussion for a long time within us. So as a result, we have come to the conclusion that while we are meeting other organizations, there are 4 or 5 organizations, as Comrade Ed mentioned at the moment, they participate in different levels, of course, at the moment, because every country, every organization have got their own problems, etc. But then at the same time, we want to discuss, about our theories. We have started some discussions on the question of imperialism, on the question of party building. We have an internal discussion bulletin. Hopefully, very soon we want to have a journal, joint journal, to to publish these ideas, these discussions in a wider circles. And through this theoretical activity, reshuffling of theoretical, the ideas of Marxism, and also through joint activities on various issues on the world scale, to affect each other, to relate more to each other, and start building gradually, getting interest from other countries, gradually start building a genuine Marxist tendency, international tendency, that will lead, after maybe many years still to come, to in fact an genuine international organization which prepares itself for the revolutions world revolutions, and also, in fact, revolutions which start in the weakest point, as Lenin said. You know, the revolution, for example, in Iran, as it happened in Egypt, in Tunisia, etc., is in order of the day. There is really very deep crisis, and any of these countries, any time can revolt. But then the question is this: to prepare the leadership of this revolution. So we have our second socialist revolution in one country. You know, we have had the first socialist revolution in Russia. After that, nothing has happened. Now we are actually in a position to, in one specific country with full organization, to develop the second revolution. If any revolution happens with the leadership of the working class and leadership of revolutionary Marxists in any of these countries, that will make an earthquake all over the world. Same as the Russian Revolution. You know, when the Russian Revolution happened, millions of people, millions of workers came in solidarity, and many revolutions, in particular in Germany, for example, 1919, 2023, of course it was defeated thanks to social democracy, but then that is the effect of a revolution in one country, a socialist successful revolution. So therefore, in fact, the revolution in Britain, which doesn't look very evident at the moment, can depend on the revolutions of many other countries. You know, if there is a revolution in Iran, for example, that will prepare, in fact, a revolutionary situation in many countries. That we have a right leadership, and we understand the sort of basic ideas of Marxism, and implement it and have influence within the workers and many other oppressed layers, we can actually be hopeful for the change that we have been dreaming about for many years. And that is a possibility if we take the right direction. But on the other hand, we are arguing with many of these organizations, if you want to go to routine activity, okay, see you in 50, 100 years time, you're still, you know, you're 200 people now, after 30 years you'll be 250, and that is not, you know, the method of building an organization. This is not the method of preparing for a revolution. So that is our solution. If there is, of course, we argue with other organizations the world scale. If there is a better solution, we are prepared to listen and participate with activities and work with them. But if there isn't, so let's build this at least, you know, this sort of project in order to start, building a revolution tendency for the future.